Alright guys, we've got a ton of crazy Forsaken news and leaks to dive into today. We're talking brand new lore for both Taph and Noob, some drama around Taph's Milestone skins, and even a few cool changes coming to other skins. There's a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it. Firstly, one of the biggest surprises from this update wasn't just the skins, but the amount of lore we got for Taph. For players who've unlocked Milestone for Taph, you'll notice a special wanted poster. If you take the time to read everything, you'll find a lot of hidden lore details that completely change the way we see him. First off, the poster reveals that Taph has been actively destroying unmoderated experiences across Roblox. That's already pretty wild, because it paints him as more than just another character trying to survive. He's someone taking matters into his own hands. The lore even says he's gone as far as killing certain well-known NPCs. That's a huge twist, because Taph is now shown to be interfering with the Roblox world itself, targeting the experiences that aren't under proper control. But it gets even deeper. The text suggests that Taph is linked to a mysterious, infamous user. My personal guess, that user is probably Doombringer. If you think about it, it fits perfectly. We already know Doombringer doesn't respect the other admins, calling them too merciful and weak. It wouldn't be a stretch to imagine him teaming up with Taph, using him as a tool to carry out his harsher version of justice. Together, they could be cleaning up the Roblox world by force, punishing anything they see as corrupt or dangerous. Now, let's talk about Taph's character, because the lore makes it clear he's not a simple villain. If you look back at the Milestone 3 render, you'll see Taph walking away from an explosion. That explosion happens right next to a small cabin with kids nearby. At first glance, it looks cold and calculated, but Milestone 4 changes everything. In the Milestone 4 message, Taph himself says, "I didn't mean to kill them." That one line gives us a huge glimpse into his character. It tells us that while he's destructive, he still has a conscience. He didn't set out to hurt those kids. Instead, it was collateral damage, something he now carries with deep regret and guilt. This makes Taph way more complex than just another edgy survivor or villain. He's someone caught between justice and destruction, between good intentions and tragic consequences. And if he really is working with Doombringer, it raises big questions. Does he actually believe in Doombringer's ruthless ideology, or was he being manipulated? Taph wasn't the only character who received lore in this update. We also got some really interesting information about Noob, and it adds a whole new layer to his story. If you manage to grind up to level 50 with Noob, you unlock a special image that shows him with a new group of friends. This is significant because in earlier renders, these friends were only shown as blurred figures. Now, we finally get a proper look at them, confirming that Noob has built relationships outside of his original bond with Guest 666. What makes this reveal even more touching is the message that comes along with it. Noob explains that he wants to introduce these new friends to Guest 666 if they ever cross paths again. That's a powerful detail because it suggests that despite everything that's happened, Noob still values his old friendship with Guest 666 and hopes to reconnect. At the same time, it shows growth. He's no longer isolated, he's learning to trust and open up to others again. Noob also reveals that these new friends have been a major source of support for him. They've helped him recover emotionally and given him a sense of belonging he didn't have before. To push himself even further, he mentions that he's planning to go to a haunted house with them. This isn't just a random activity, he's doing it to overcome his fear of trusting others after a traumatic incident that happened. Most likely, referring to the event that separated him and Guest 666 in the first place. I really like this piece of lore because we got to learn more about Noob as a character, and it shows he isn't some scared weakling. He pushes himself to grow as a person and get over his past so that he can live happily again, and even wants to reunite with Guest 666 after whatever traumatic incident happened. Next up, I want to talk about the Taph Milestone skins that just dropped in the most recent update. These skins have been at the center of a lot of discussion lately, and honestly, a lot of backlash too. Personally, I don't really understand the hate, because to me these skins actually look really cool. I love how each milestone comes with a fresh color change. It makes the feeling of progression feel much more rewarding. The custom bombs are also a really nice touch, and the overall designs show a lot of personality. For me, the milestone rewards feel fun and worth the grind. Now, I know not everyone shares this opinion because a lot of people online don't share the same opinion. Some players have been saying that the color swaps look weird and that the concepts shown before looked much better. Others argue that more time and effort should have gone into the designs. That's where I disagree. First off, without these color variations, Taph would have ended up looking pretty boring. Imagine grinding 25 levels and, at the end of it, all you get are some extra pouches. That wouldn't feel rewarding at all. The color changes actually give players a sense of progress. You can see the difference in each skin visually, and that's a big motivator. Secondly, and this is a point that gets overlooked constantly, the creators of these milestone skins only had 24 hours to get them finished. That's a really short window for designing and polishing, yet the results still came out looking great. Of course, when you know something was made quickly, it's easy to say it was rushed, but in this case, I don't see that at all. The fact that they managed to deliver color-shifted variants, custom bomb designs, and a cohesive look under that kind of time pressure is actually really impressive. I also think people sometimes underestimate the role milestone skins are supposed to play. They aren't meant to be entirely new, over-the-top concepts. They're progression rewards that build on a base design. The color changes are there to make the skins look a bit more unique, not to completely reinvent the character every few levels. If you compare it to games that don't bother adding any milestone visuals, you'll quickly see how much more boring that grind feels. At the end of the day, I honestly think a lot of the hate toward these skins is blown out of proportion. Could they have been even more detailed if more time was given? Sure, maybe. But given the circumstances, I'd say the outcome looks great, and it's nice to see something people have been asking for be finally added. But hey, that's just my take. What do you guys think? Next up, we've got some really exciting changes coming to Timeless 1x1 skin. The most noticeable update is to his face. Instead of the older smile, he's now sporting the classic Roblox default smile. It might seem like a small detail, but for some players, that change makes a huge difference. It makes the Timeless skin a lot more accurate, which a good amount of people were complaining about. But that's not the only adjustment. His minions are getting a full redesign as well. Previously they looked more or less the same, but now they'll each stand out with their own unique details. The minions will now have a Dominus along with the old smile on them, giving the minions a lot more uniqueness and personality, making the skin feel much more finished and high effort. On top of all that, there's also news that Timeless is likely going to receive new sound effects. It's exciting to imagine how his attacks and abilities could feel with updated audio. Whether it's more powerful impacts, eerie echoes, or something completely new, fresh sound effects would make playing with or against Timeless even more immersive. Altogether, these changes show that the devs are really committed to polishing Timeless and making him stand out as a skin. The face swap, minion redesigns, and possible new SFX all point to a skin that's going to feel a lot more complete and satisfying. And lastly, Betrayed is set to receive some exciting new changes, this time focusing on his voice lines. The ones we already have are pretty solid in my opinion. They fit his character well and add a lot of personality, but now they're going to be taken to the next level. The updates include tweaks to the pitch and tone, making his delivery stand out even more. On top of that, the new lines are described as being cooler, funnier, and sillier, which should give Betrayed even more character and variety during gameplay. What really caught my attention though is that a writer is now involved in crafting his lines. That might sound like a small detail, but it shows a lot of care and effort is being put into making him feel unique and memorable. It's great to see this kind of polish being added, not just in visuals or mechanics, but in voice work too. These changes will make Betrayed's presence in the game feel fresher, more engaging, and way more entertaining overall. Anyways, that's all for today's leaks and updates. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you enjoyed, and subscribe so you don't miss the next Forsaken news drop. See you soon.